Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Easy Programming. I am Naveen Mishra and I'll continue teaching you how to write programs in C language. In my previous video, I have told you about the loops, how you can write programs like factorial and Fibonacci using for loop. Now I'll continue with other loops like while, do while and the nesting of the loops. So let's start. First of all, start with nesting of loops. What do you mean by nesting? When one loop is followed by another for loop or any other loop within its block, then it is called nesting of loops. So when one loop is followed by another for loop within the same block of for loop, it is called nesting of for loop. Syntactically, a nested for loop looks like this. Here in this, I am giving you the syntax of nesting one for loop inside another for loop. So I have started first of all in the syntax in the first for loop where I will put initialization condition and increment or decrement part followed by the curly braces. Now within these curly braces, along with its block of statements, I have introduced another for loop. Now this is called inner loop and this is called outer loop. Okay, so inside the inner loop I have again written the initialization condition and increment decrement part. Then whatever block you want to execute will be placed here. Then this represents end of inner for loop and this represents end of outer for loop. For every value of I or j or any variable you used here, this loop will execute to its full. Okay, so let's see how it works with an example. Now I have written a program in developer C++ in which I have used a nested for loop. So to create a for loop, I have used two variables I and j. I have started the first loop I equals to 1, I less than equals to j 5 and I plus plus. And inside this loop I have placed another loop j equals to 1, j less than equals to 5, j plus plus. Inside j loop I have printed the value of j with some spaces for slash t using slash t, and inside the I loop I have placed a slash n for new line. Now let's understand how the code will work. So first of all, number 5 line will execute and I will be set to 1. You see here, I will be set to 1. After I is set to 1, we will check the condition. 1 is less than equals to 5. That is absolutely true. So we go inside the loop, and inside the loop there is another loop. So j will be set to 1 and j is less than equals to 5, which is true. J value will be printed. Now after executing this 9th line, the compiler will go back to the 7th line, that is for increment decrement part. J will be incremented by 1, then 2 is less than equals to 5, 2 will be printed, then again 3 less than equals to 5. So when I is equals to 1, your J will execute 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in your output you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the spaces. Now once this loop ends, 11th line gets executed and we move to the next line. And again the control transfer goes back to the 5th line for I increment. So I is incremented by 2. You see here, I is incremented by 2. And again we check the condition in the 5th line. So 2 is less than equals to 5. Absolutely true. We go inside again and this j loop will start again. So j is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and j will be printed again. Then again slash n is printed. Then again I is incremented by 1, 3. Then for 3 j will be executed again, and so on for all the values of I. So for every value of I, the j loop will execute to its whole from 1 to 5. So this is your working of the program, and the output will be this one. You see here the gap for slash t. Then when I equals to 1, j 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is printed. Then I is equals to 2, j again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is printed, and so on. Alright. So this is how the programs of nesting or for loop you can understand. Now along with for loop nesting, there is a while loop as well. The programs that you have done using for loop, you can do the same program using while loop. So what is a while loop? It is an entry level loop. For loop as well as while loop both are entry level loop. It means the condition is tested first, and if this condition is true, only then the block of the statements are executed. Okay, so this is the syntax. In for loop, initialization, condition and increment decrement part are in a single line, but here you have the freedom of initializing your variable anywhere before executing the while condition. So you can set I equals to 1 anywhere, then while condition, and inside the while condition you can place the block of statements you want to put. I have missed increment decrement part here, sorry for that. After this block of statements, I have to place increment or decrement part here. Okay, we can see it using an example. You see here. So I have used a variable I for a while loop as well. I is set to 1. Then while loop I less than equals to 10 and I is printed. Okay, so and at the 9th line I is incremented by 1. So 6th line is tested. If true, 8th and 9th line gets executed. Then the compiler goes back to the 6th line and so on. So this will print the output from 1 to 10. Okay, similar to that there is a do while loop. Okay, so do while, what is the difference between for while and do while? Actually, do while loop is an exit level loop. Sometimes you may require that your loop executes at least once irrespective of the result of the condition. So in such cases you can use do while loop. Okay, so do while is an exit level loop. Here the condition is tested after executing the block of statements. So irrespective of what your condition is, your block of statements will be executed at least once. Okay, so this is the syntax. Again I have missed the increment decrement part, but the rest is same. The while condition that was placed here in the while loop is moved to the end of the loop, and it is replaced by the do condition. Okay, we can understand it using an example. So int I is set to 1, I equals to 1, then do, again the same message as of while loop, but the condition is moved from 6th line to the 10th line and a semicolon is placed. Alright, so it will print the value of I up to 1 to 10. But what will be the difference? Okay, let's see the difference here. The difference is if I set the I value equals to 11, even though 11 will be printed and then the condition is stopped. But in the previous, if I see in the while loop, if here I set the value of I equals to 11, at the first encounter this condition is true, so no output will be printed to you. So while loop may or may not execute at all, whereas do while loop is sure to execute for at least once irrespective of the condition's result. Okay, along with these we have some jumping statements. Jumping statements are break, continue and go to. Here I'll teach you what are break and continue. So generally continue is used very less. Break statements are used in switch case blocks, but what are they? So break is used to stop the loop statement. As soon as your break hits, your program output is stopped. To use the break in a program, you have to just simply say break and semicolon. Okay, and the similar to that concept you can do the continue. Instead of typing break you can type continue, then it will be a continue statement. But what is the difference between break and continue? Let's understand with an example. I have written the program here and the same program is written here as well, but the difference is in the 8th line I have placed a break keyword and in the 8th line I have placed a continue keyword. Okay, now let's understand the break first. So 5th line will be executed. I is set to 1, 1 is less than or equals to 5, true. Then we move to the 7th line, 1 is equals to 3, false, so else will be executed and I value will be printed, that is 1. Then loop continues again. I is set to 2, 2 is less than or equals to 5, true, and again 2 is printed. When I is set to 3, 3 says break. Break means move from the 8th line to the 12th line. So 3, 4, 5 will not be printed if you use this program because of the break keyword, because break keyword will stop the loop at when it hits. Okay, and the same program I have written here, but what will happen here is same as break keyword. 1 and 2 will be executed as it is, but when I equals to 3 hits, continue says go to the increment decrement part here. So I will be incremented by 1, so 3 plus 1 equals to 4, 4 less than or equals to 5, true, 4 is not equals to 3, so else 4 will be printed and then again 5 will be printed. So here after 2, 3, 4, 5 will not be executed because of break, but here only 3 will be skipped because of the continue statement and rest 1 to 4, 5 will be printed to you. So this is a simple example of break and continue statements. Okay, let's start with goto statement now. What is a goto statement? Goto statement is rarely used after C and C++ language. Goto statements is also a part of the branching statement. They are generally avoided as they make the flow of the program unpredictable. Goto statements are followed by a label, and the compiler transfer the control of the program to wherever this keyword is written in the program. So goto statements are generally avoided, but you can use them if you want to. So goto statements generally can be categorized into two types. One is conditional goto, where you put your goto statement inside a condition that if this condition hits, only then your goto statements execute, otherwise not. Other is unconditional goto statement. You see here, in unconditional goto statements are written as a normal statement without any condition, but it will complicate the things and the remaining of the code will not be executed. So unconditional goto statements should be avoided. This is the syntax of goto statement. So you put a label here, any value, any name you can pass here like xyz, and colon. The colon represents it is a label. Then wherever in your program you write this go to this label, the control transfer back to this label. Okay, so whenever this label hits, the control transfer back to this go to label. Okay, so this is a syntax of goto statements. Now I have written a program of goto statement, but in this program I have used a conditional goto statement. Let's see here. I have written two variables a and b, and I have asked the value of two variables from the user. Now the program is to find the greatest between two numbers. If both of the values are same, let's say user enters 5 in A as well as in B, then I won't be able to find the greatest. In such case, what I have done is, if both values are same, I have printed a message to the user that I cannot find the greatest, and I have placed a goto test keyword here. Now the compiler will look where this test colon is written. The test colon is written here in the 5th line, and the transfer of control will go back to the 5th line, and the program will be executed again from this line. So again the user will be prompted to enter two values a and b. If the user tries again the same values like 6 6 or 7 7, this if hits, and the goto program takes the user back to this printing and scanning part. And if the user does not put same values, for example 6 and 7, then this condition is false, and this else if will execute, and whatever this condition is will be executed. So if the values of a and b are 10 and 12, then this condition is also false, and b is printed as greatest message. And if I pass 20 and 10 values, then this condition hits, and this printf will be executed with a is the greatest. So this is the goto statements. Okay, so these all are the control flow statements that are written. We can continue some programs with nesting of loops. So these are the programs that we can do using nesting of loops. Okay, to print the table of all the numbers between 1 to 100, to print all the prime numbers between 1 to 100, and then these patterns you see quite often in the exam of BTech computer science or BCA students. So let's write some programs. Okay, I will write some programs for you guys. So just a second, let me open developers, dev cpp. There you go. First of all, I write program to print the patterns. So I will have hash include .h, and I will say main function, and I will use some variables I and j for the loops. Printf /pattern1. I'll start with for loop I is equals to 1. In this program, what I want to try is, I want to print 1 star, then 2 star, then 3 star, then 4 star, and then 5 star. I want to do this. Okay, so first of all, I need a loop from 1 to 5. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5. So I'll start my I loop. I is equals to 1, I less than equals to 5, and I plus plus. Inside this loop, now you see, in the first statement the star is printed only once. In the next statement, star is printed twice and thrice, and so on. So as I have explained you previously in the same video, in this video, that you have to introduce another loop. So I'll introduce another loop for j is equals to 1. j less than equals to 5 j plus plus, and let's say printf percentage d comma, sorry, let's print star. I don't want to print anything else. And to move to the next line, I'll use printf slash n. Okay, let's try to execute and run this program. One dot and I have to comment these lines. Let's try to run this program. Now you see, 5 stars are printed here, 5 stars are printed here, 5 stars are printed here, here and here. This is because this loop execute whole for every value of I. But what I want is, first time this star is printed only once. So initially when I is equals to 1, my j start from 1 to I. Then when I is 2, my j starts from 1 to 2. So instead of putting a constant value 5 here, I'll put a I here. And let's see what happens. Let's compile and run the program again. You see here, pattern is printed fine, but I have to put a slash in here and compile and run the program again. You see here, now this pattern is printed perfectly. Okay, similar to that, there are some other patterns that you can execute. So I'll save my time by copying the code into new file, and I'll save it as pattern2.cpp. Instead of printing star, I can say %d comma I, and I'll compile and run the program. You see here, now it prints 1 2 2 3 3 3 4 4 4 5 5 5 because I'm printing the value of I every time. If I switch it to j, program, compile and run the program again. Now you see here 1 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 is printed. Okay, some other patterns you guys that you can try. So what I can do, what I want to print now is, I want to print this pattern like 5 5 4 5 4 3 and so on. So I have printed j here, but I want to print 5, so my j should start from 5. So I'll set j equals to 5. Now if j is starting from 5 and it's going 4 3 2 1, so it is decremented by 1, so I'll decrement the value by 1, and instead of placing a less than here, I'll place a greater than. Okay, let's see. Sorry, I have missed one minus here. I want to compile and run the program, and this is a different pattern like 5 4 3 2 1 5 4 3 2 5 4 3 5 4 5. What I want to do is, I want to print only 1 5 here. So whatever the value of j is, I'll start my I with that value. So I equals to 5, and if it is 5, then it goes to greater than 2 1, and instead of plus plus, I'll say minus minus. Okay, there you go. This is another pattern. So you guys can practice other patterns as well. I'll write another pattern program for you in which you have to place the spaces as well. So I'll copy this code. For spaces, I have to introduce a extra loop. I'll print a space here, and I'll introduce a k loop. Okay, and inside k, I'll print the value of k, and let's save the program first. Pattern4.cpp, declare variable k, and I have to set the k value here. So I'll say k is equals to 1, k less than equals to I, k plus plus. Let's see what happens now. Now this is a pattern for you guys where spaces are introduced first. So this space, then 2 spaces, then 3 spaces, then 4 spaces, then 5 spaces. Okay, so if I want to print the pattern like 1, then 1 2, I'll start my k to 1, and this is I, so I will start from the same value 1 and goes to less than equals to 5, will be incremented by 1. To print some extra spaces, I'll start the j from 5, up to I think it should work now. We see here, so spaces are in front, which is continuously decrementing by 1. This is because of the J loop of spaces that I have introduced. Similarly, you guys can continue writing some other programs as well that I have explained you earlier. Okay, so these are the programs that you guys can do. Now this program, all these programs where spaces are after printing requires 2 loops like I and J, and all the programs that have spaces before printing the value, you need 3 loops. Then you can continue these programs where you have to put the 4 loops as well as the 8 loops. Okay, and the other programs as well for practice of while and do while. That's enough for this video, guys. Thank you very much for viewing my video. Keep subscribing and sharing my videos. Thank you very much. Cheers.